The Rwandan model for unity and reconciliation is inspired and founded on human dimension approaches rooted in Rwandan culture and that have become fundamental in the moral transformation of society, the only guarantee for lasting and comprehensive peace. So different ground initiative, cultural approaches have been used in Rwanda, in civic education, in peace building, in conflict management, in social cohesion, even in the economic development. Just now coming back to the subject of forgiveness, so you see that genocide in Rwanda has been committed by Rwandans to other Rwandans. It has been organized by the Rwandan government, who was composed by Rwandans. It has been in the presence of international community who has been incapable to stop the genocide. And at the same time, for the government, the first challenges was to give, to settle the population, to create social conditions, to give security, justice to the population. I can say that it looks for me like in Rwanda, we started not like intellectual. We didn't think about reconciliation, justice, forgiveness. It's like we had no choice. We start and we have been thinking with the time. So practically we have started justice without a longer analysis, without longer consultations, and with the main objective of reconciliation. So what I can say today is that if we start by the national level, the country level, Rwanda established normal relation with these Western countries, France, Belgium, US, UK, independently of the role we feel that they had played or they should play to stop genocide. So some government came in Rwanda and requested for forgiveness. But even those who didn't come, so we established normal relations. In 2003, the government decided to release about 25,000 prisoners who recognized and asked for forgiveness in prison. So they were released and they went out of prison and they started community works in a place of to stay in a prison. So that this justice of Gacaca, which also started in 2002 and was closed last year, has been the forum for dialogue between survivors, perpetrators of genocide, and the rest of the community, because genocide in Rwanda, as I said, it has been massively executed. Even those who didn't commit it, who didn't kill, they have been spectators. They have pointed maybe the place when Tutsi were dead. We did everything. We sensitized them to recognize the crime, to seek for, to confess, to empathy, because we feel that they have to do the first step. But recently, with the testimony we are meeting in the communities, especially communities of the family of perpetrators and the family of survivors, helped by faith-based organizations and different NGOs, these people have been brought together, and somewhere they are living in the villages together. So living together, working together, discussing, having dialogue together, it creates the condition and environment of forgiveness. So in my community, just two weeks ago, we had a retreat of high leadership of Rwanda about trauma, reconciliation, and forgiveness. It means we are moving to the understanding of the value of forgiveness. Because when you talk with this community, they say, before forgiving, we are living in very, very hard conditions. Those people, those communities, those families, those individuals who have been able to forgive, so when they do testimony today, and we feel and we learn about the value of forgiveness. So I'm happy that we have been discussing about the forgiveness, the sense of forgiveness, because long time we feel that forgive is to give, is not to heal. Actually, we in the commission, we started to give this message to the community, to the Rwandan government, that forgive is a very important step to heal and to reconciliation. Because reconciliation is not only living together, it's absolutely to recognize, to repent, and to forgive, to have, to progress in the reconciliation process. But also, as you said, many of you said, forgiveness is a process. When I imagine the first time we went to the prison to recall them for repentance, and when the first time we talked to the survivors about forgiveness, it was like a crisis. But today we can talk freely about these approaches, about this process to the victims, to the survivors, and to the families of those who committed the genocide. Another challenge we have is the young population who was born after the genocide. So they challenge us. They don't know what's happening. They need education. Maybe that is the good indication of education. The young people, the youth who was born after genocide, so who actually, some of them, they know only now that their parents, father, have been involved in the genocide. They didn't know before because the parents don't say the truth. So these young people, they need education. We have some manuals and the curricula when we talk about common identity, where we explain the history of Rwanda. We call the people to the common identity, the common culture, the common language. What's common is much more than what is different. And we teach the consequences of genocide. In Rwanda, consequences of genocide is evident on both sides. Those who planned and committed genocide and the survivors. So the consequences is affecting even the younger generation. So we have some manuals to help to understand the history, to understand identity, to understand the genocide, to deal with consequences of genocide, to understand unity and reconciliation, forgiveness, post-genocide traumatism, but it is still a problem. Yeah, it is still a problem. You don't know, you have a teacher in the school, but you don't know how much he can give and how much he has to give. So we are still looking for, try to learn about how to transmit the history, to transmit all these approaches and these values. It is not easy. I remember when the commission started, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know where to start. We didn't have any experience from outside.
Did
So,
you use South Africa?
a little bit later, because it's different. The case of South Africa and the Rwandan case is different, because even in South Africa, you are white and black. In Rwanda, so the challenge we have, there is a very good film about the genocide, My Neighbor, My Killer, is done by Anne Aguillon, an American author. There is no difference. There is Hutu and Tutsi, there is no difference. If I bring 20 people here from Rwanda, you don't know who is Tutsi, who is Hutu. And the massive killings, the genocide, has been done in a community who had lived together, who have been married each other, who have been really been living together. So what we have done when the commission started, we didn't have any program, we didn't have any experience. We went back to the community, to the population. We asked to them, we organized different forums, debates, dialogues, meetings, to explain, to discuss about what happened in Rwanda, what the origin, what is the reason, the main reason of genocide in Rwanda. So we came out that the bad governance, the culture of impunity, because in the time, since 1959, people, especially Tutsi, were used to be killed, to be exiled. So, and those who committed this crime, they were promoted in the government. So there was a culture of impunity towards the Tutsi group. So we started by seeking in ourselves what to do, how to do, who is going to do what. So, and finally, we started the program of civic education, so a mobilization about the identity of Rwandans, because the big problem has been the identity. The first program was to identify who we are. What is the differences between us? We had another approach with the justice, is an approach of conflict management based on Gacaca. Gacaca has been inspired by the traditional Gacaca. It has been developed with some laws and some regulations. But we really have started by a grassroots consultation, putting in place the program of civic education, mobilization, identity, Rwandan identity, conflict management process, especially in justice, and a program of community mobilization, community initiatives. From the beginning, we started to bring the different community, the survivors, and the families of perpetrators who at that time were in prison, most of all. We tried to create projects together, to bring them together. So we have 3 programs: civic education, conflict management and peace building, and community support, community initiatives in development, but also in peace building, in the reconciliation process. So we grew up. After we called South Africans, we went to visit South Africans, especially in researches, in evaluation of the process of reconciliation. But the beginning, the how to start was a result of grassroots consultations. And we have chance because the government, the political leadership was really involved in the reconciliation process. We had NGOs, we have faith-based organizations, all societies were involved in the reconciliation process. So it is really a combination of the whole strength of the country. And we have learned by the time. Maybe that is the reason we have a lot of literature about reconciliation in Rwanda. It's because we, as we said, we are not very clever, very intelligent. We started by wisdom for Rwandan culture. We had the commission for unity and reconciliation, for mobilization, for educating, for supporting, for assisting. And you had Gacaca Court. It's like a commission also who was working with, we worked together. But Gacaca has the mission of, like the Commission of South Africa Truth and Reconciliation. Actually, Gacaca has been, I should call it, a commission for truth, justice, and reconciliation.
What is clear is that there are personal issues, there are collective, communal issues, We need intellectual clarity, and we need, if you like, moral and spiritual determination to make progress. And that involves things like thinking about the pedagogy of it all. How do we transmit our ambitions, our goals to the young? And we've heard some, both from Angie and from Joe, how this might be done. And I think we need to have some clarity and share that with teachers. The teachers need intellectual clarity, some real understanding of what forgiveness involves, some determination to share it with the young, and to begin to think of how do we encourage the young to engage in exercises of reconciliation and forgiveness, which creates for a whole community, both in school and the wider community in the nation. So I don't want to, certainly I don't want to lecture at you now, but I'm hoping that you'll come back to me and feel that you want to continue this conversation. Joseph has already opened the door, if you like, a little bit, because he's planning this symposium on, with BISAP to create a charter for forgiveness, which will try to set down some of the steps and that are required, though each situation I suggested may be different. But still, there may be things that we can distill from the experiences in South Africa or Rwanda or possibly, in Sri Lanka. I mean, just think of the number of places where there are serious social problems, communal problems, and we need to think, how can we encourage these communities in our own community to make progress on this really big front? So I'm hoping that you will feel that this has been a stimulating day. I've certainly enjoyed listening to you all, and I hope that you feel that it was worth your while.
It has been a privilege and honor to have you here. It's not us who has done you a favor, you have done us a favor. That's my first thing. We Sikhs are required to do three things. One, to continually remember God. We call this Simran Naam Japo. The second thing is Kirt Karo. Kirt is earning your livelihood, devoid of this culture of despondency. You must be self-reliant and you must earn your living, but you earn your living in God's presence. And the third thing is share. And this sharing, I believe, when you forgive, you actually share love and compassion. So forgiveness doesn't mean forgetfulness. You remember what has gone on, learn a lesson from it, bury the past, move on. Otherwise, you will never reconcile. But also share love and compassion. That will be forgiveness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks everybody for coming.